the weather can be challenging. Maybe it's freezing outside and your vehicle is getting chilled in a parking lot somewhere. That's where the next button comes in handy. Remote start on EX and above. And of course, it's operated by the key fob. With remote start, drivers can start their vehicle from up to 60 yards away, depending on how clear the signal path might be. For best results, we recommend your customers stay within sight of the pilot when they activate remote start. By pressing a button on the key fob, you can command climate control to bring the cabin to a comfortable 72 degrees. In cold conditions, the system can also activate the front and rear defrosters, and also on Elite trim, the system activates heated seats, steering wheel, and side view mirrors. Now, if it's warm outside, remote start can activate the AC and the front ventilated seats on the Elite trim. You can bet your customers will come to depend on the remote start because it makes those tough outdoor weather conditions just a little less stressful. Now, if you're new to remote start and if you've demonstrated it before, you should still point out some of the key points. So to operate remote start, with all doors shut, press the lock button on the key fob, then press the remote start button. And you need to do that within 5 seconds of each other. The exterior lights will flash to let you know you've actually started the car. The engine will run for 10 minutes. However, you can extend the time for another 10 minutes by pressing lock and then the remote start button again on the key fob. You know the time has been extended successfully when you see the turn signal indicators flash with 2 sets of 3 flashes. If you decide to turn off the engine, just press the start button for 1 second. Now, once you get inside the pilot, you'll notice that the pilot screens are dark except on the MID display. There, you'll see instructions that prompt you to press the brake and press the push button start. Now, that's normal once you've activated remote start. You'll also notice that push button start on the dash is glowing blue. So go ahead and follow the instructions on the MID and the display lights come on as if you're awakening the pilot. Then step on the brake and put the engine in gear. Now, what happens if your customer skips pressing push button start and just presses the brake and tries to put the vehicle in gear? Well, nothing happens. Well, technically, nothing changes. The vehicle keeps running and the display remains dark. Probably not what your customer is expecting. So it's important to explain the simple, correct steps ahead of time, either during the sale or delivery.
You're absolutely correct, Pavel. So let's recap that last point before we move on. So to operate the pilot after you activate remote start, put your foot on the brake, press the push button start, and then the MID display screen will wake up. Then with your foot still on the brake, put that vehicle in gear.
Well, just a few more comments about standard push button start on every pilot. Most people feel it's way easier to push a button and insert a key and twist, and this feature brings immediate attention to the high-tech personality of the 2016 Pilot. Remember, although this feature isn't new to you, it's new to the 2016 Pilot and maybe new to your customer. The button illuminates, and that's great because customers can easily find it. Honda has also color-coded the button so they know for sure if the engine is already running. Simple rule, if the button is glowing blue, press it to start the engine. If it's red, the engine is already running. Just select the gear and go. So let's say the engine's off. Your customer's sitting in the Pilot waiting for her kids to finish baseball practice, and she wants to play some music and operate a few other features that require power. That's accessory mode. Your customer should press push button start once without pressing the brake. Now, the customer can use the radio and other features. Now notice that the start button glows red to indicate it's in auxiliary mode. Then, when baseball practice is over, she wants to head home, she should just now apply the brake and press push button start. The engine turns on and the red pulsing button turns a solid red. Your customer can now put the Pilot in gear and go.
A feature that many Honda drivers already depend on is the Tire Pressure Monitoring System, or TPMS, because it lets them know when their tires need refilling. Well, every 2016 Pilot provides a great new capability along with that TPMS, and that's Tire Fill Assist. Check this out. It doesn't automatically fill your tires with air when they're very low. I know, Sarah, that would be ideal, but that's not realistic. Let's get that idea off the table. Check this out. Honda has taken the guesswork completely out of getting the correct pressure in the tire. In fact, you don't even need a tire gauge anymore. Here's what your customers will need to know.
Danny and I will now demonstrate TPMS with Tire Fill Assist. You can press the button to select TPMS on the information on the MID screen. Here we go. So toggling through the different screens, we're going to land on the TPMS screen. There it is. All right. So when a tire falls below the normal minimum pressure, that information automatically appears. The MID shows all 4 tire pressures in real time. Now here's where Tire Fill Assist comes in. While you refill the tire that's low, the system will alert you when you've reached exactly the right pressure. So Danny, let's get him over here and we'll get some air in the tire. So as he's filling up some air in the tire, we're gonna hear beeps. Now, once the tire has reached the correct pressure, you'll hear beeps and the parking lights will flash. That means you should stop filling the tire. Nice work, Danny. Thanks.
You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Tire Fill Assist, soon to bring more tire filling confidence to Pilot drivers across America. Now, the Pilot LX, EX, and EXL come with 6-speed automatic transmission, and drivers will enjoy the intuitive, easy-to-use conventional straight gate shifter. But today, I'd like to focus on Pilot's new 9-speed transmission with paddle shifters, featured on touring and elite trims. For what it's worth, this 9-speed transmission is 66 pounds lighter than the 6-speed. You want your customer to fully appreciate and experience the 9-speed transmission from day one. As you know, this is Honda's very first 9-speed transmission, so I think a bit of celebration is in order.
Well, how about a cake? I just happened to make this last night. And this is for you, Honda. Congratulations.
I like what you put 9-speed automatic transmission. That's amazing. Congratulations, Honda. Now, as soon as, can you guys cut away from the camera so we can finish
This is for me.
I don't get any?
No. Well, and Honda. Sorry, Danny.
It's messed up.
Believe me, this transmission is worth celebrating. When you see how it contributes to best-in-class fuel economy ratings, smooth shifting, strong acceleration, and multi-gear downshifts. Now, paddle shifters make it even more fun and engaging for drivers because they can shift through the gears. If your customer has driven a stick or a manual transmission, they'll quickly grasp the concept. Essentially, paddle shifters give you a clutchless manual. The great part is that the vehicle's computer monitors the shift points and won't let you redline or over-rev the engine. Now, tapping the left paddle shifter can help you downshift and slow the vehicle. Now, help your customers manage downhill speed or give a burst of quick acceleration for quick maneuvers. This button, labeled DS, is for Drive Sport Mode. Drive is for normal settings. Selecting Sport Mode gives Pilot drivers a chance to experience more performance-oriented driving whenever the mood strikes. For some customers, that could be, well, every day of the week. In Sport Mode, shift mapping is more aggressive, which keeps engine RPM higher for greater acceleration and response. While driving, you can activate Sport Mode by pressing DS button whenever you're ready for, well, more fun. You can toggle between Drive and Sport Mode on the fly. So let's discuss a few practical points on Pilot's 9-speed automatic transmission. Imagine your customer's pulling into a parking spot at the hardware store. Transmission is still in gear, and he sees some debris over in the parking spot. So he steps on the brake, removes the seat belt, and opens up the door to take a look. Well, at that point, what happens? Well, Pilot will automatically put the vehicle in park. You should explain that to your customer and that this is a great safety measure and it's supposed to happen. Otherwise, they may wonder, why do they have to put the vehicle back in drive to continue pulling into that parking spot? Or let's say you want to keep your transmission in neutral, like when you're pulling up to a car wash. So let's talk about car wash mode. And yes, that's a real mode. You'll find that in the owner's manual. From drive, select N for neutral. And on the MID, you'll follow instructions that invite you to press N again for 2 seconds. There it is. Now, when the driver does that, the Pilot engine will remain in neutral for 15 minutes. He can even turn off the engine and Pilot will remain in neutral, and it's all ready to continue its journey through the car wash for a terrific shine. Now, after 15 minutes in neutral, Pilot will automatically switch back to park again as a safety precaution.
Wow, the car wash mode. I like that, Pavel. Something your customers probably aren't thinking about when they first start driving their top trim 2016 Pilot with 9-speed transmission. But you know what? You'll be a hero if you take a moment and you show them how to do it right. So let's recap. From drive, select N for neutral, then press it again and hold it for 2 seconds. You can turn off the engine or leave it running. Your Pilot will stay in car wash mode for actually 15 minutes.
Got to keep that Pilot looking fresh.
Looking sharp.
So fresh and so clean. Now, Pilot Touring and Elite trims feature the fuel-saving idle stop system that shuts off the engine when the Pilot comes to a stop and instantly turns it back on when the driver releases the brake pedal. If your customers do lots of stop-and-go driving, well, this feature will save them a ton of money on gas.
But when you're selling or delivering this feature, don't just talk about this great fuel economy. Be sure to mention how smoothly Pilot's engine starts back up after shutoff, compared with other systems on the market. And for customers who may worry that their cabin temperature might change while they sit at a stoplight, let them know that the cold storage evaporator in the AC system will keep the cabin at a comfortable temperature. You'll need to share a few other points as well. For example, even when idle stop is on, the engine will keep running at a stoplight in certain conditions. And here's a couple of situations. When the driver's seatbelt isn't fastened, or when the rear HVAC fan is set to maximum speed. Excessive heat and cold weather are most common reasons why the engine keeps on running. A Pilot's idle stop system knows when that vehicle requires to operate safely and efficiently. But let's be honest, many customers prefer to disable this feature because even though they like a quiet engine, well, they don't like it that quiet. And 2016 Pilot gives them that choice. So be sure to show them how. It's very simple, all done by the touch of a button on the center console, here at the bottom of the gear shifter. Done and done.